Yeah. We get lit, we get fly, we get drunk, we get high, but to the masses, we a podcast called Verified. I'm your boy, JopauL. I'll be your host for the evening. We are sponsored by Radio Pushers and Results in No Hype, and we got a new sponsor. Major Papers is my first sponsor on my podcast, Major Papers. It's the most organic rolling paper on the market right now. And it's 100% owned and operated by a veteran, so you guys should support it. And why go out to the store and go buy a pack of rolling papers for $2 every single time? You're risking going to get COVID. You know they're not wearing masks in there. You should just order a 20-pack right now, $1 a pack for $20, majorpapers.com. Make sure you check it out. We got the most special guest right now who can answer the most serious question I've ever had for anyone.
You put him in the spot.
Do I look anything like Pitbull? Because everyone keeps telling me I'm like Pitbull's twin. So if anyone can answer that question, you would be
a little bit. But you know, when you spend time with the man close, you could definitely tell the difference, from other people. So.
Good. Okay, so it's settled, all right? I'm not Pitbull's twin. We got it right from the horse's mouth. So now I can take this off. Now I can get comfortable, and I can be myself like I really want to be.
There it is.
Anyway, welcome to the Verified Podcast. We got DJ Dramos. I mean, his credits and discography literally reads like an NFL or NBA Hall of Famer. So we're going to jump right into it. We're going to learn his whole story. And I appreciate you taking your time because I know that you're extremely busy because I've seen all of the jobs that you have. So I know that, your time is very, very valuable.
I'm like a Jamaican.
There you go. But listen, you're making me happy that you're here right now. So I appreciate that very much. So let's jump right into it. Latin Prince. How'd you get the name Latin Prince?
Latin Prince, of course, because I'm Latino. So that's one. Two, I'm a fanatical Prince.
I wouldn't have guessed it. I wouldn't have guessed
what I'm saying? I mean, I could be Italian. I could be, other things. But yeah, of course, being Latin from Nicaragua. And then of course, being a fan of the artist himself, Prince, just a complete fanatic. And you know what? I met him and I told him, I said, yo, man, I actually named myself, after you. It's just the lad is in front, but he was very nice about it. He was super humble about it. But yeah, that's how it became.
That's pretty cool.
To show homage to the artists who I love, and of course me being, of course, Latin. So there you have it.
I thought you were gonna say, of course, because I'm a prince. I'm royalty.
I wish I had my own money like that. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, listen. You were king to me, and you were king to a lot of people in the music world. So we salute your tenure in this game. Thank you for taking your time out to be here with us. So, talk to me about where you grew up. Now, were you born in America or were you born in Nicaragua?
I was born in Nicaragua. I came out here to the States when I was a very young age. I think I was 14, 15. And then that's when I started. I already had an idea that I was going to do something in the music industry or in music in general, because since I was a kid, I was always involved. Playing around with records, getting in front of the record player, with a fake mic and acting like I was on the air and all that stuff. So I had an idea that I was going to be.
You wanted to be the next big star on Star Search, didn't you?
I mean, I don't know about Star Search, but it was mostly I just had a fascination with radio. I was fascinated with radio. So I got here. I met one of my mentors who started to teach me how to DJ. When I moved to San Francisco, that's where I grew up in the Bay Area. So
now, did you speak English when you came to the country, or did you have to learn it?
Yeah, I did. My English, I was bilingual. So with that said, I was just I met this kid named Eddie Depp, who was actually a neighbor of mine, who was a turntablist. So I started going to his house and spending time with him, and he was just showing me, just the ropes, and he got me involved. And he's like, yo, you got to get into this business. I'm like, yo, I'm loving it. So he's the one who got me involved, and he's the reason why I got into the whole DJ part of it. You know what I'm saying? And I was 15 at the time. So, I started just practicing. I started, just training. I told my mom, hey, listen, I got to get some turntables and a mixer. She's like, oh, yeah, well, you have
to save up.
You have to earn it. You have to earn it. You're not going to I'm just not going to give it to you. So I worked for that stuff, man. And if I was doing bad in class or if I wasn't getting the grades, she would lock my stuff up. So
Okay.
I wouldn't be able to practice. You know, I was like, nah, man, I can't have that. I can't have that happening to me at all. So
Now, were you a good student in school, or were you?
no, I
Or
was
were
a
you
good student. I was a pretty
okay?
decent student. You know, I mean, like, you know, I was not. I was a 3.0. You know what I'm saying, above. So yeah, I wasn't like. There was times when I would mess around. You know what? There was a time. I think it was in the 10th
Yeah,
grade.
yeah. Give us all the juicy shit. We
No,
don't
no, no,
want
no,
all
no.
that
It was.
stuff.
I'm gonna keep it clean. You know, I was fascinated with, you know, with high school because, you know, that was. I
Listen,
came
we
from a
want to know.
different country.
Listen, we want to know about the little cheek that gave you the hand job in the fucking janitor's closet.
No, but
Okay.
it was I just came from another country and I was just trying to get used to the whole vibe of this whole
Okay.
new world. So I was fascinated. But then on 10th grade, I started to like cut class because I was like, oh man, this is kind of cool. Like everybody's cutting class. Like, and then one day, you know, my mom was like, yeah, like what the hell is going on? Like, why are you not going to class? Like, why are you having all these missed days? I'm like, huh? What? Like, so I got back in the horse and I, you know, started, you know, make sure that everything was on point.
Okay.
You know, because they're like, if you're not going to graduate, you know, you're going to mess up and you're going to have to do another year if you're not going to be on top of your stuff. I'm like, oh, forget about it. Let me get back. You know,
Now, what did you?
it was fun hanging out.
Again, I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you guys.
No, it was just fun doing that for a while. It was kind of cool hanging around with the new crew, girls, guys. You know what I'm saying? We're like, it was a new thing. You know, like I said, I have never experienced this whole vibe of high school cutting classes and all that stuff. But then, you know,
I mean, I remember back in my high school days. I could have graduated early. Now, I'm not like some super brainiac or anything like that, but my mom was a teacher, and in 8th grade, you had the ability to take this exam called the proficiency exam, which if you scored a certain level, you got like some high school credit. So I ended up being able to graduate high school early. I didn't. I stayed the last semester because I had a 0 to 2. I only had 3 periods, and I would usually, you know, cut, you know, the second period. So all the people that would be cutting, like all the girls would be like, oh, I know you got, you know, you get out early and nobody's at your house, so let's go and chill. Man, I used to get some sick head my senior year. That was the year right there. I mean,
you went to school. Where did you go to high school?
I went to Susan Wagner High School in Staten Island. We were most famous for we had race riots for 2 years straight in our school. And now the crazy thing was, because I was very into hip hop and very into breakdance, and I was friends with the brothers, but I was also friends with the white kids. So it's like when at one point there was maybe every hallway in the school there were fights, you know, blacks on whites, which is crazy, you know. So me, I had to stay neutral because it's like, I'm friends with everyone. I'm not going to join sides. You know, I'm going to be like, all right, you know what? I have a 0 to 2. I'm leaving right now. I got this shorty over here. I'm going to go smoke some weed. I'm going to go do my thing. Be like, y'all fight. Y'all do what you got to do. Don't kill anybody. You know, so that was high school. Now,
that was happening out there in Staten Island. I was going to high school in San Francisco, and the craziness there was the fights between the blacks and the Latinos.
Okay. Now was it gangs? Like, was it like
it was just blacks and Latinos just beefing for some odd reason. I don't understand. Like, you know what? And like I tell a lot of my friends, listen, man, when I was in Nicaragua, I had no idea what racism was because we didn't experience that. We didn't have racism in my country.
When I went to Costa Rica, I met a whole bunch of people from Nicaragua, and they were probably the most pleasant people I've ever met in my life. I mean, you guys just know how to party and chill. Like, it's not about
exactly.
You know, any of that bullshit.
Yeah, we don't get caught up in craziness.
Have you dealt with any racism in the States, though?
Of course, yes, I have. You know, even in the music industry. You know, even
really?
Working in
I would have never guessed that. Not in
exactly. No, definitely.
So nice.
I have experienced it. I experienced it when I used to work when I worked at a record company. So yeah,
you can shout them out. It's all right. I mean, this is a total movement of cancel culture. So what was the record label that allowed people to be racist within the organization?
I don't want to say names because, you know, you never know. It might come back to me and they might not hire me. Like, oh, you were talking about this or that. It was a major label, so you know.
Okay. You could blame it on me, though. You could be like, oh, it was JopauL. It was all his fault. Go blame him. I'll give you his address in Staten Island. Go see him. But, so tell me, so what did happen?
Basically, it was like, you know, I worked for, you know, for the urban department at the time. And I just felt like, you know, because I was Latino, they would do their own things. Like, I felt like separation. You know what I'm saying? Like, they would do their things like, yo, let's go hang out. How come I didn't get invited? It's just them. That
Okay.
crew. I hate to say them, but just them as in people, like, you know, they would just go out and do their own thing. And I was like, oh, I guess because I'm not part of the crew, you know, I was, you know, invited. So
Yeah,
I was always finding out things last minute too. You know what I'm saying?
You know, James Cruz on Drink Champs just touched base on that, on how, you know, how sometimes he feels that people who are Latino are guests in hip hop, you know, because there's always putting the word Latin rapper, Latin singer, you know, rather than it just being a cumulative hodgepodge of, you know, this wonderful music, you know, that we all kind of contributed to. Yes,
Yeah.
you know, the black culture started it. There's no question about that, you know, and it evolved to this mainstream way of life that has touched so many different people. So I feel like it's broken a lot of barriers
It's
lately.
a gumbo of cultures, man.
There you go, gumbo
And
culture.
James Cruz is a good dude, man. That's family right there. So shout outs to James Cruz, man.
Yeah, shout out James Cruz.
Long time.
I remember meeting him once at it was the pool party at I forgot the fucking name of the hotel. I mean, I've been drinking and I'm smoking, so I can't remember. But it was in Atlantic City, and I went up to him and I was like, Mr. Cruz, and he's like, it's James, and I was like, you know, I'm a good friend of Christina. I'm not gonna like blow up her last name, and he's like, oh, that's family. I was like, well, she's my family, and he's like, oh, so I guess you're my family now. So very, very humble dude, very, very cool.
Very dope, very dope.
Yeah, I'm just mentioning because I just saw him, like, you know, literally watched the episode, you know, 2 days ago. So. But so the people that were in the record label didn't invite you to go hang out, and they left you in the office. So how did that make you feel? You know, as you know, one, you know, I guess an immigrant to the country, you built up your status to where you actually have a job at the record label. So how did that make you feel?
I mean, it just, I don't know. I didn't know how to. I just felt like I was, you know, like an outcast. Like, okay, like, why am I not cool enough to hang with everybody? Like, you know, like, well, I mean, we work together, so why can't we hang out? You know what I'm saying? That's a team.
I feel you.
You know, and but you know, like
it's that synergy within the team.
I let it go. I let it go. I mean, I learned. I let it go. I just kept it moving, man. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't gonna let it cut up, but I feel like, you know, some type of way. But I mean, I don't know if that was considered racism, but it's like, I mean, I just feel like, you know, a certain group of individuals was just like, would exclude me out from events.
Okay, well, if any of those people are watching right now who know the story that we're talking about, let me say it for Latin Prince. Fuck y'all. You should have invited them. That's it. But you know what? You let that be a driving force. I mean, me being, you know, a white Jewish person in a predominantly, you know, black dominated industry, and I've been in the game since 1996. I've dealt with a whole share of you know, racism and being left out and being like, oh, you know, like, you know, forget the white boy or something like that. And I've used it as a driving force to be like, you know what? I'm going to be better than all of y'all. I'm going to do something that's going to make everybody be like, oh shit, we should have fucking jumped on his coattails when we had the chance. But that's neither here nor there.
It is.
So I know we're jumping around a little bit. What did your parents do for a living?
Well, my mom was an administrator.
Okay.
For different companies. My dad had his own business as well in Nicaragua as well.
Okay.
You know, my dad's not around anymore. He passed away like in 1996. So
rest in peace. God bless the dead.
But yeah, man, they were both, you know, in a working force. So like private industry. You know.
Okay. So good morals growing up. They taught you to, you know, values of hard work and what it takes to really succeed.
100%. Always learning from the family, you know, and put me in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? So I always felt like I had a good, you know, frame of mind. You know, I had some good influence and stuff like that. So it was always put me in a direction where, you know, it's like, if you want something in life, you have to work for it. So it's not going to just be given to you. You have to definitely like put it down and, like, you know, if you really want it that hard,
earn that shit.
You got to earn it. Exactly. You have to earn it.
I respect it. Now, so what did they think about you getting into DJing and getting into music? Well, did they support it at first, or were they like, listen, as long as you get your schoolwork done, then you can play with your records?
Well, my mom, you know, but since I grew up, you know, as a single parent, my mom, she didn't really believe in it. until the day I gave her a check for 10 G's. And I said, look, Mom, this is a check that I made in one night as a DJ. And she's like, what? She's like,
Fucking
okay,
crazy.
I get it. I get it. I understand where you're coming from. Now she would not like, she left me alone. Cause she wanted me to be, oh, you have to have a career. You know what I'm saying? You got a doctor,
Be
lawyer.
a doctor, a lawyer.
And believe it or not, I mean, I ended up, getting 2 degrees.
Okay.
So on my own. So
All right, listen, not only handsome, but he's intelligent. All right, there you go.
yeah, man. I'm not
Now,
gonna.
now explain to me. I want to, dig deep on that because it's something that I can relate to very much. The feeling of validation when you handed that check to your mom, and you said, "Mom, this is a viable source of income for me." And I know that that's what you're thinking in your head. Explain to me how you felt in your heart, because I know that, me being, like I've never made like super money. I've been able to be in this game for like 20 plus years, which, is a testament to how hard I've worked, so, and I make a little bit of money. I can pay the bill. I mean, the lights are on, thank God, and I'm able to stay in here, but I've never made that type of money where I was able in one shot to be like, bam, here. But the validation I got when my father called me and he's like, he was at the airport. I'll never forget this. He was like, and he's crying when he's saying to me, he's like, I'm looking at this full page article in Teen People magazine and it's my son. He's like, you've made it, and so the feeling that I got, I can only imagine must have been the same exact thing when you handed that check to them. So explain to me how that felt in your heart, from all the work that you've done. Now it's finally like, now this is actually a career.
Yeah, and I mean, it was an undescribable feeling to be able to say, yo, like, look, for years you and I argue about this, you know what I'm saying? And you kept pushing me and you were trying to take me in a different direction. And I wasn't listening to you. And I'm like, yo, all I asked you was just to believe in my dream. And then and you know what? And this was the second time that I had to prove to her that I could do this on my own. The first time was when I moved out of her house and I went and got my own place. She was first and foremost crying. Oh my God, how this Latin people, Latin families, like you don't leave the house until you're about to when you get married. That's the tradition. Like your son or your daughter, they leave home when they get married and they go into the next level of, of their lives. So I just moved on. I just felt like I needed to, like, I personally started working and earning my own money at the age of 15. I told her, like, listen, I don't want you to buy me anything. I'm going to buy my own clothes. I'm about to be about being independent. So when I moved out, she was bugging. Then after I got all settled, I invited her over for dinner. I cooked her dinner. I did everything. She came over. She's like, wow, okay, I get it. First and foremost, I thought you were gonna starve to death. I'm like, nah, Ma, I know how to do this. So that was the first time, and then the second time when I handed her that check, she was like, okay. Like I said before, I said, I get it. She's like, I understand why you were pushing me away so hard. I'm like, listen, Mom, I said, I will never do anything. I'm gonna put myself in jeopardy, or where I'm not gonna be able to take care of myself or my bills. You just have to believe. Like this is just like. She's like, it was all new to her. She was crying. It was very emotional, but it felt good. It felt good to be able to, be able to prove to her that we're gonna be okay.
Yeah, I think it's a certain like rite of passage, as growing adults,
Yeah.
when you reach that critical stage where your parents really don't have to worry about you anymore. It's like, okay, I raised him right. He can do it. I don't need to, be up late, wondering what the hell's going on because he's obviously doing his thing.
If you notice, that's the job of us as a parent is to, to always worry about your child. You know what I'm saying? It's like they always want to make sure that, oh, they're good. Do they have something to eat? Do they have clothes on their, on their backs?
Yeah, I don't have any kids. Yeah, I don't have any kids.
I don't have any kids either. I had a dog. And even when I had my dog, I was like,
listen, I got plenty of girls that call me daddy, but I got no kids at all.
No kids.
Not that I know about, but there was like one wild summer in Virginia Beach when I was like 16, 17, that I was shooting up the club, like crazy shooting up the club. So, hopefully I don't get too famous where they're like, oh shit, we can get a check from this motherfucker. So listen, DNA tests all over the place. Okay, listen, I don't play that game.
For sure.
Okay, so when was it that you first, like, I guess, transitioned into more of like the show DJ rather than just the, you know, DJ for hire? Like explain to me like your progression, you know, as you started to gain like some accolades from the DJ world, and you were like, you know, getting your props, so to speak.
I mean, I mean, the blessings of my early career was that, okay, so I started very young. I started to build very young, you know. By the time I was already 18, I was already DJing in the clubs, and I was doing like, you know, these clubs where like they would put a curtain so they wouldn't see who was DJing because of my age. So I started radio very young, and that's when
so you were underage DJ in the clubs.
Mm-hmm.
How many older bitches fucking statutory raped your ass? Come on, talk to me. Talk to me about those MILFs. Come on, I know that they were there. I know you knocking shit down.
There was a few. There was a couple. You know what I'm saying? There's a few. I guess we all go through that. I guess we all go through the drop through that shit. You know what I'm saying? So so I did that, and then I started doing radio. So when I started doing the radio part, that's when things started to like, you know. And then, you know, when I started to be a DJ on the air, when I started to DJ, you know, live on the air, and that's just like little by little, I started getting plaques from labels, and, you know, from helping break their records and stuff like that. So that's when I felt like, okay, you know what? I feel like I'm being appreciated for all the work that I do until today. Even though, I mean, I do my radio show now. I mean, I break a lot of artists on my show. I break a lot of music on my radio show on Sirius XM. So,
which is great. That's the thing that a lot of DJs lack. I mean, nowadays, I was talking to DJ Chubby Chub on my last interview, and shout out Chubby Chub, legendary DJ.
Chubby Chub, Boston, baby, Boston.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. When it comes to getting the exclusives, like back in the day, like the white label that the record labels only had like maybe 1 or 2 copies to actually give to the DJs. It was the relationship that the DJ had with the label that was able to actually break those artists. And now, I mean, if you look at New York, it's like, I mean, you probably have the statistics more than I do, but I don't remember the last time that any DJ in New York broke a new record, like an exclusive, like worthy of like a Flex Drop the Bomb, you know, type of shit. I mean, it just seems like it's been a while, you know, since. I mean,
there's a few DJs, like I would say, like, you know, like Camilo, like Enough. They do their thing, you know what I'm saying? They do their thing with, you know, because I listen to the show, so they throw it back. But you're like, I mean, radio has changed in New York, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it's very few open format programs.
You know, like, yeah, exactly. I'm trying to think. There's only 2 stations. You know, you got Power and you have
97.
You know what I'm saying? So that's it. So, you know, and I think that Power, because, you know, they're very formatted, so I don't think they let their DJs, you know, and plus, again, you know, a lot of DJs cannot break new music because they're handcuffed.
Right, by the radio programs.
By the radio programs.
Yeah, I mean, my friend Matt Basso, who used to do Boston FM, I forgot. Amp. There we go.
Yeah, Matt. Yeah, Bozo is a friend, so Matt is he's a good dude.
I grew up with Matt. That's like one of my like closest, you know, friends. Like, I mean, still to this day, you know. So I can't. I'm actually gonna go see him in a couple of weeks. You know, I can't even divulge that information yet because, actually, fuck it. I mean, it's my podcast. I can do what I want. Yeah, I heard he's moving back to New York. So, and I'm super excited about that. So, Boston, I'm sorry, we're taking him back.
No, okay? You know, it's a tragedy what happened in Boston with that station. And my whole crew, right? You know, from Tone Terra to my boy Hectic, like my boy DJ Case, they had a, you know, even JD, you know, who does on air, you know, like the whole on air staff, and make sure DJs at that station. That was a good station. It's just so bad that they had to change format, man. It's just sad tragedy. For real. So, but you know, he's a good dude. So I'm hoping that he comes to New York and kicks ass.
Oh, he is. He's that. I mean, he's been kicking ass. You know, listen, he's as good as he can grow his beard. You know, that dude can grow the best beard I've ever seen on any one person. So shout out Matt Basso. Shout out your beard. Can't wait to see you, brother. Yes. So when did you actually get your first chance to rock on the radio?
Well, like I said, I was at that time I was DJing. when I first got recruited to get, originally I was already working at the station doing some street team work.
Okay.
But I was there for like a year, but I wasn't getting paid. I was like, I told my guy, I said, yeah, man, you know, like I remember getting sick, and I told him, I said, yeah, I don't think I could do this anymore. He goes, well, what do you mean? Like, you're gonna just quit? I'm like, well, first and foremost, I'm not getting paid. He goes, what? You've been here, I've been working with you for a year, you're not getting a check? Nah, this is the boss. So he went back to HR, got me a job, and he got me paid. I was doing stuff at the station.
So they had you working like fucking slave labor.
I was an intern, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we all got to play the dues. So
okay, all right.
I was interning, and then I got hired, and I was at the time I was DJing at the #1 18 and over club, the only 18 and over club in San Francisco, which is called City Nights. There was like literally, once you turn 18, that's where you went. This is the hottest club. 3,500 kids in that place every weekend, bro. The line on the block, L shape.
I miss the days of those type of parties.
It would take you an hour to get into the club. It was just packed. Like, you know, it was amazing. And I did it for years. Like I was
not me. I'm calling you and be like, yo, listen,
resident DJs were, you know, heaven at the time, you know what I'm saying? So then the guy who was in charge of mixtures that came young, he will pull up, you know what I'm saying? He'll come in and will check me out low key. Like, and one day, Alex, his name, he's one of my mentors, Alex Mejia. He came up and said, hey man, like, I like what you're doing here. He goes, I wanted to ask you if you could do this. I think it was a quinceañera, you know. So it was for a family member. So I said, yeah, man, sure, why not? So I ended up rocking the quinceañera for him. And then he's like, yo, man, you know what?
So what's a quinceañera?
The quinceañera is like a sweet 16, but it's 15. It's when the girl turns 15 years old. She becomes, you know, a woman in the land world.
Listen, thank you for educating us.
Quinceañera,
that it's October. It's
your 15th birthday, yeah.
Listen, the fact that it's October and it's a Hispanic Heritage Month, it's good that you teach us, you know, a little bit, you know, so that this way we are educated, you know. And I'm just gonna get a heads up. We might have a special celebrity guest that might jump on. So I'm just gonna give you a heads up. So I don't want you to be thrown in a loop, but you know, trust me, it'll be a nice surprise to you. So go ahead. So you did
I did it, and then he was like, dude, like, I'm very impressed. You know, like when you're at the club, you kill it. When you in front of thousands of kids, when you were in front of 50 people, you kill it. So you give me the same energy. So I'm like, I appreciate it. So he goes, yo, I would love to like work with you and hire you. So he brought me over to the station, and then he groomed me to be on the radio, to DJ. And then one day, just like, yo, you have this lot. And as I started rocking it. And it was nerve-wracking because I imagine, like, oh my God, like I'm DJing live in front of millions of people listening to me right now. Like, what am I gonna do? Oh my God! It's like, but he goes,
you're just thinking, don't fuck up, don't fuck up.
And you know what? It's true story. I'm gonna tell you a story. So like, I started rocking. He goes, don't worry about it, dude. Just do your thing. You know, like you know, just make sure that, you know, like, just follow. You know, just follow. You know. We like had a list of songs that we needed to play, but of course they will give us, you know, freedom to play other records as well.
Okay.
So
I
was like this, man. I was mad nervous. I was rocking, but he goes, just do exactly what you do at the club. Just don't even stress. So I was rocking, and then I finished my set, and then so it was like it's called the 106 All-Star DJs. So it's like about six or seven of us. So I finished my set. Alex grabs the rest of the team and he takes them to the back. And then I walk out of the DJ booth, and then I look over and I see them over there huddled up. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, oh, I wonder what they're talking about. I wonder if they're discussing my set. I'm like, oh my God, did I just fuck it up? So they come back with a piece of paper and they put in, because I had a 2 hour set. So I finished my first hour. I was getting ready to rock, you know, they were playing commercials. I was getting ready to rock another set. So they get a piece of paper and they put it right in front of me. And it says DJ in training. And I'm like, DJ in training? Oh man, this is some bullshit. I was mad
man.
DJ in training. Like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? So until, you know, they removed that sign until they felt that I was 100% ready.
Okay.
But you know what? I proved myself. I killed it and I was done.
Now, you feel like it's different. I mean, obviously, when you're rocking at the club, you're feeding off the energy of the crowd. So it's like you don't have direct, like, what's the word? You don't have immediate gratification by like seeing how the crowd responds to you. So
Yeah, no, you're right.
so it's got to be nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I mean, there's two things. You don't have the crowd, and two, you have to, like you're so used to playing dirty versions at the club, and you have to play clean versions on the radio. So, it's a whole different vibe.
And listen, that's the way radio rocks. I remember sending, I forgot which DJ played it on which station now, but I remember sending him the wrong version, and he didn't proof it before he played it. And I'm literally listening. I think it was actually Hot 97, and I'm listening to my song. I was like, holy shit!
I
really hope that I don't get in trouble for this. But
like I always tell artists, do not ever send both versions, and then especially to the radio guys, don't send them just that one version.
Absolutely. So
so that was how this whole venture started, man. It was an amazing experience. I did radio for a very long time. I got to hang around with some of the great artists. I remember having Biggie come over to our station and handing us a acetate of I think it was Juicy at the time.
Okay.
So for us to be able to play it. So we spent a lot, we spent time with Pac, we spent time with Biggie, I spent time with Aaliyah, before she passed away. So it was
rest in peace to all three.
I mean, I started DJing on the radio in 1991. Imagine the 92 year.
Yeah, I mean that was like the glory years of like hip hop right there. And
exactly. Yeah. Imagine all the dope artists that were coming out.
Yeah, I see my guy Dramos just joined, but I think he's muted. So
Dramos.
Let's get him unmuted, and let's see what he has to say. No, do we hear you yet? No, we don't hear you. I mean, listen, we see the beard. The beard is great, but we can all hear. We can't hear you.
Let's see, is he muted him? Did he mute himself? Because you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, you gotta unmute yourself. Yeah.
Hello.
There we go. Now I hear you. How we doing, Dramos? What are you doing here?
I just felt like I've been left out of the podcast. I know you got my guy LP here who hadn't me up about getting tacos in a while, so I'm a little bit salty at the two of you. So I kind of felt like I should just drop in here. And kind of just join in whatever the hell you guys are talking about right now.
Man, is this the artist you were talking about was going to jump on?
Yes, sir. This is him, DJ Dramos. I mean, legendary DJ producer.
He's very disappointed.
You're sitting in the building, baby. What's the Gucci?
So what's good, man? How you doing today?
What up?
We were just basically discussing.
I want to say I don't know what Zoom's problem is.
Yeah, Zoom is like, I mean, I can't wait
Before you get into that, I just want to say, I know how to unmute a microphone. I just want to let you know, I know how to unmute a Zoom microphone. I've done this before. I have no idea what's going on with Zoom right now, but we're good. I brought my AirPods. The fancy mic is just for show right now because for whatever reason, Zoom hates me. So we rolling though. What are you guys talking about? Something about 1992.
No, we were just talking about some old history of, when I started radio back in the days, back in the early 90s and shit. So talking about some other artists who I met, who came to the station back in the days when people will come to radio and deliver their own record.
Right.
Not like these days. These days, now they'll just send you an MP3 and the artist might show up, they might not show up. You might get a drop, you might not get a drop. It's horrible, man. Radio these days, radio DJs it's a struggle. Like if you're in a big market like New York, you might get lucky and get a drop. Or you might get lucky to have the artist pull up to the station to come say, what's up. But if you're in a secondary market,
right,
forget about it. They don't give a fuck. They want you to play the record.
Yeah, you're not getting nothing.
But you're not going to get shit.
Right.
But it's like, you know what?
Now you'll get a generic liner that they just like copy and paste the station ID into basically. Like this is Katy Perry, and they just throw in like a random sweeper on WBLX, whatever the hell it is,
Exactly. It's just it's terrible. But God forbid, but these labels they want you to play the record 100 million times, but they don't even do the basic stuff that we as DJs required to do dope imaging for our shows. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, the artists nowadays, I feel like it should be a standard thing. I mean, I remember going in the studio and recording, drops for like 100 DJs, in one session. Like I did no music that day. All I did was, hey, what up? This is your boy. I mean, I was a Lyric back then. It's your boy Lyric Enforcer. We rocking out with, such and such douchebag from whatever KLS station, and, you tuned in right now to my new hit, go fuck your mother, or whatever it is that I was pushing at the time. Now, it's like the artists, like, you're lucky if they actually pull up. And if they do, thank God we have, cell phone technology that we could just be like, all right, cool. Thanks. See you. Bye.
I was asking somebody, I said, so do you think that I could get a drop from Drake? And they looked at me like it was a joke. I'm like, why not?
Can I play devil's advocate for a second though?
Mm-hmm.
That's why you're here. Yeah, by all means.
Right. Well, listen, I'm a radio DJ. I respect the radio DJ, but I also say, and LP, you can speak to this because you were around when the radio DJ really was breaking records. You know what I'm saying? And now with the internet, with the TikTok and things like that, I don't think that we're given the freedom, first of all, to break records for the most part, and B, there's so many other avenues that I don't think we're as much of a priority, and it's just technology, right? There's nothing much we can do when it comes to that. There are so many other avenues that artists can break, whether it's a Spotify playlist or TikTok or whatever the case may be, that so we are not
as important as we used to be.
I hate to say it, bro, but it kind of is. You know what I mean? And maybe it's a changing of the guard a little bit. We all know that things move with technology, right?
I mean, I figure that people still listen to the radio. TikTok is for the kids, so the kids are not listening to the radio; they're listening to TikTok or to Spotify or these streaming services. I mean, I would go to like different schools in the Bronx or Queens or whatever, and I would ask kids, yo, so what's your favorite station? And they're like, I don't listen to radio. Oh, what?
Right.
Do you listen to Funk Flex? Who's that? Like, yeah, it's like everything has changed. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what happens in 5 years when that kid is now 20 and they're driving? That's what I'm saying. So maybe a kid isn't listening to the radio, but as they get older and as that new generation isn't growing up listening to the radio, they're not going to be flipping to Hot 97, Power 105.1, Z100. They're going to be turning on Spotify, and they're going to be turning on whatever playlist on those things, Apple Music maybe, whatever the case may be. So that's what I'm saying. So as that new generation, as they continue to get older, because there is a generation who didn't grow up on radio at all that probably is already 18, 19, 20, 21, and driving to work, driving those first cars. So that's what I'm saying, that as radio, we also kind of got to maybe know our place and maybe try to reinvent ourselves just a little bit as well.
Well, the question is, how, I still believe that there's a value. I mean, a lot of people are saying, you know what, I don't know how much longer radio is going to be around. You have, you have Sirius XM, like people are getting tired of radio in their commercials, and that's been always like, it's always been, a situation. So like you said, now there's so many different avenues and so many different choices.
Right.
So, I think
it's to the point where they're like, we'll probably just plug, plug their phone into whatever, aux cord, in the car and just play one of their playlists. Like, I mean, it's almost like they are their own DJ. So that's where I feel
they create their own playlist and they don't have to listen to nothing else.
Right. But here's the thing though, but here's the thing where you and Dramos actually, are perfect indicators of what I'm about to say, is that you guys have your own base and core following because of you guys, because of who you are, not just because of your stature. Like you've been noticed, at these places, but it's your personality. It like you guys, the radio personality or the radio DJ personality is more prevalent now than ever. So it's like, as long as you have, your core following that you're, actually like kind of catering to, and it kind of meshes with whatever medium you're playing it on, it's like, that's where you'll never be obsolete. So keep on doing your thing, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to go away completely. I think it can, if we're not smart about it. If we are trying to sit here and relive the glory days, and it can begin to go away, we have to adapt to a degree as well. I think, I think you guys do a great job with globalization with your mix shows, that they're not just cut and paste. Here's the top 40 tracks, and, you know, fucking find a couple cool remixes of it and go. You know, you give your guys the freedom to do so. You have a lot of guys who are in the clubs and playing as if they were in the clubs to give people that feel, which is amazing. And I think that, you know, terrestrial radio, which I'm more a part of, has to also let go of the reins a little bit, allow the personalities to be personalities, allow the DJs to be DJs to a degree, because that is how you're going to get something unique that drives people to it. But I think for both of us, whether it's a Sirius XM or it's a Z100 or it's a Power 105 or whatever, it also is embracing YouTube. It's embracing these IG Live, different things, because then you're building a rapport and you're building up a community that is now getting around that. So maybe whoever, I don't know, 24K Golden, his fan base knows about TikTok but doesn't listen to the radio. But now if he's doing IG Lives with, you know, one of your personalities on the Sirius XM account, they might be more inclined to check out Globalization on Sirius XM now, because they're being introduced to that, whether or Z100 IG Live with a younger fan base, and they're being more inclined to check that. I think we've seen that with the K-pop stuff where the Blackpinks of the world, or the BTS, like those kids are tuning into Z100 and they're getting excited about it because they're hitting up the request lines. They're being acknowledged on the Twitter, like, hey, shout out at whatever the case may be. And that still is exciting to a kid. So it is that balance, I think, of us, you know, utilizing the technology and being able to kind of move and ebb and flow and understand that we're not the priority. It's going to probably be the artist that is driving the new people coming in. And we're just trying to be a part of that culture as best we can.
Yeah. Like I say, it's like what you said.
I
We have to adapt to the new ways of, you know, how things are. You know, like I keep telling people, it's like, do you truly believe that retail stores are going to close? Malls are going to close because everybody's buying clothes online. Nobody wants to go shopping anymore. Everybody's Amazon out. Is that, you know, is that a reality that it could be coming very soon?
I mean, listen, with the technology that's out, like they could scan your body type, so you don't even have to try something on. It's going to be a perfect fit by the time you get it. So in that aspect, yeah, but we'll always need socialization. But I want to get back to the topic that that Dramos, you know, just hit on. There was one thing that I feel like needs, or one thing that I feel like would help radio sustain in a mostly digital streaming world. If the artists actually cared about about it dropping on the radio more than getting a couple of million Spotify hits, like if that radio or that personality has the following and has the listening base to allow the DJ to be the first to play it, I feel like that's where the value lies, in exclusives. Like, okay, listen, you have it first before I upload it to Spotify. You know, that right there is power. That right there gives the relationship back, artist to DJ, which, you know, I feel like it's, I said it in my last podcast, I feel like it's forced on them by either the labels or the management. So I want the DJs to be able to run with the exclusives without getting their hands tied behind their back by whatever radio programmer, you know, is, you know, kicking their ass at the moment. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, that's one thing that, you know, like Dramos was talking about, is like, there has to be a line where, you know what, they need to let the DJs be the DJs. You know, there's too much handcuffs going on. And it's like, you know what, it's just not fun anymore. It's like, you know, we playing your list. You know, it's like, let us, you know, like, explore. Let us, listen, we are professionals. We're not trying to fuck up the station by playing stupid ass songs. You know what I'm saying? We know what's, you know, like what makes sense. We know how the format is. Let us, you know, give us a little bit of some freedom, so, you know, we are able to, you know, showcase some of these artists. They might need, you know, they might be like, wow, like they're playing my song on, you know, on KTU or Power, you know, or whatever. So
I feel like we should organize a protest, you know, with a whole bunch of like picket signs and be like, let them play, let them play, let them play. Remember like Bad News Bears when they started that chant? And we'll use that as a sample. You'll put it on your mixtape, make $1 million, and then we'll break it on the stage.
The music industry is, man, you know, it's a tough cookie, man. And right now, like, everybody's complaining about Sony music and whatnot, and people not being able to find their songs on any of these record pools, because it's like they're making life a little bit harder.
Dude, I had a whole album that I had a I mean, it was called, I believe it was something distribution. It was like a division, that Penalty was starting, and for some reason they went out of business, and my entire catalog for my album Time of My Life, which you know, was phenomenal album. Like I had Like I had hundred thousands of hits on like a bunch of my songs. All of them are wiped out of the database, so I can't find any of them. Hopefully, there's like some big class action suit, where we can get, at least. And I didn't get any fucking of my revenue, even though it wasn't probably that substantial. It's still something though. Even if it was 14. Listen, I'm Jewish. Okay, if it was 14 cents, I want that 14 cents. That's it. Okay, I want 14 Abraham Lincolns in my motherfucking pocket. It's a fucking, it's a recession. It's a fucking pandemic. I need every fucking cent I can get.
I mean, listen, the topic at hand, I think the labels are also just very concerned with streaming numbers. So they're very guarded about things. And why that's the same reason why even, a remix pack from a label is usually trash in comparison to the remixes that end up on record pools. You know what I mean? It's because they want the big name DJ who's going to automatically drive certain streams as opposed to putting out quality things. And even when it comes to a remix pack, they're scared of putting out a certain number because they don't want it to take away from the original track streaming number. So there's a lot of things, and to your point, JopauL, about letting a radio station have it first. I think to them, the streaming numbers, and probably to most artists, the streaming number is more important than the actual radio play. I think radio play,
which is crazy,
which absolutely is crazy, but that is the metric that it has become this big thing almost, and I think the radio to a degree has their own selves to blame because they allowed themselves to start letting these streaming platforms control what was getting played as opposed to actually just using your gut and saying, I think this song is a hit, let me play it. So what happens when these radio promoters come in from the labels, they say, okay, we have X amount of streams on Spotify. TikTok is going crazy. So now
you should see
streams.
You should see the emails we get with all the breakdown information from all these things.
Because we as radio probably have forced them to say, oh, what's the story behind the record? What's the numbers? So now we're saying, okay, use somebody else to break the record instead of us. That's a problem. And we've allowed that to happen. That's our own fault to a degrure because yeah, exactly. We're letting them that dictate. So of course what happens? Spotify numbers become the metric that they use as a priority first because in their mind, the radio's not going to play it before we get X amount of plays. So now it takes it out of the hands of the radio personality and the DJ and all these different things, So a lot of people shooting themselves in the foot.
I got a dumb question, and this is probably, this is more for like, the people out there that don't understand. So I'm going to ask this question for them. So when a artist has his song played on a major radio station, does he receive any revenue for that play?
Yes, they do.
Okay. What is the breakdown in relation to the?
Go ahead.
In relation to what the streams would be like, what's the scale? Like one play on the radio is equivalent to 20,000 streams, on Spotify.
Let's think about this. Let's say
break it down for us.
Let's say it's the same amount, but the artist is going to get more from streaming because they're not going because the listener is going to go and listen to the song over and over, and that's something that radio cannot do. They cannot play your song 1,000 times in a week. They could play it 100 times, but not that. So the numbers, that's the reason, and back to what Dramos was saying, and that's the reason why these streaming services are getting all the exclusives. These are the reasons why the streaming services are getting all the deals with the labels. Oh, you want to hear the new Drake? It's going to come out 12 o'clock tonight on Spotify. You know what I'm saying? So, they're getting all because, how many songs can realistically can we play at a radio station lifetime? Dramos, like 3,000 spins, maybe more, compared to millions of streams. Right. Imagine Drake has 100 million streams. How can you compete with? How can radio compete with with that number of streams? It never. True story.
Fuck, I guess you guys are going to be obsolete. Bye. See you later.
True story. Out of all the avenues of making revenue, SiriusXM pays the most. They pay the most. So when your record, I'm not going to tell you how much it is. I mean, I know how much it is, but when your record gets rocked on XM, you get a big check because I think they're the highest, for streaming of revenue coming in for an artist on every quarter, through ASCAP or BMI.
Interesting, because now that you mention it, I do have a bunch of songs that I'd like to send to you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? My brother.
Have your assistant call my assistant.
No problem. I'll just fucking split my personality. I'll be like,
yo, let's go.
Excuse me. I would like to speak to Mr. Latin Prince. Yeah, I'll turn into Joe Lerner real quick. I'll be the corporate.
So that is so back to so yo, man, it's crazy out there, bro. It's crazy. Like I said, I love radio. I come from old school, so like I was just in New York, last week doing some business, and I'm listening to radio, and I'm like, wow, like I remember when air personalities were this shit. Like now, I think I'm listening to like college radio, this on air, this new generation of on air personalities. They lack passion, man. They don't have that impact where your show sounds like when I came from radio, there was a jock named Rick Chase. This dude was before there was a Howard Stern, before there was all these, shock jocks, we call them. This guy was, I'll have to send you some air check tapes from him. This dude was like entertaining. Like every day I would have to turn in my radio at 2:00 because I needed to listen to what the hell this dude had to say, or what kind of story he was going to tell us today, or what kind of characters he was going to come up. He would literally make characters. And this is days when, they were using reel to reel, to record stuff, so nowadays, and back to Dramos, am I wrong? I mean, nowadays, radio's like eliminating talent. They use one person to voice over 20 stations. Wow. It's like, what happened? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I think outside of morning shows, you're not getting a personality, because it's also like, they don't even want that, which to me I hate. But it's like they're giving you a 10-second intro time to all of a sudden showcase your personality. How the fuck in 10 seconds am I supposed to give the listener something interesting and memorable? You know what I'm saying? Talking into a fucking Taylor Swift record. Like you do your best, obviously, but we're being handcuffed to a degree. And outside morning shows are still the people that are able to do that. But outside of that, they don't do it. It's ironic to me because morning shows are their biggest financial driver. Now, obviously, you have the most people driving in the car at that time period, but also it's because people are sitting there actually paying attention and listening to what's going on. So to me, you should allow your personalities. At the end of the day, if we can't compete with the music that's being played on other platforms, the only thing that we have, the only competitive edge that we have is the human aspect of it. So why would you not embrace the human aspect of it?
Let the talent do its thing. Let the talent, entertain people. Like, make the talent be like, yo, like they come in and listen to me because I have something to say. People, let's tune into a show. Like,
I mean,
our podcast killing.
Listen, you're a prime example of that. Basically, what you've done during this whole, quarantine, with your open mic show, with your what the world needs now. It's like, you obviously spark something in somebody that all of a sudden Z100 is like, we need to get this kid. Wasn't just your beard, my friend. It might have been, but you're on the radio, so they don't really see you like that.
Yeah.
They know you have a following, but they know you have the beard. So they might have been like, you know what? We got to get this fucking kid right now. So, and salute to your new venture, because I'm proud as shit at you that you're, finally getting that recognition that you deserve, other than just sitting there being the butt of like, Envy's jokes, or Charlamagne, harassment, and just sitting there like, but it's a good thing you have that beard, because, I'm saying, they can't really talk shit when you got a beard like that. I can't grow it, so that's why I talk about it.
I mean, the fucked up thing is also, though, the Z100 thing is amazing. I appreciate that. It's a great thing just because I'm such a student and a appreciator of radio. But to me, being mindful of 2020, it's a stepping stone. It's no longer the goal. It's no longer the final thing. It is, what can I utilize now, my name being attached to Z100? What can I utilize having the Z100 brand behind me to do other things?
It's the genesis of it all. Literally, for lack of better terms, it's like you were, and listen, I know it's a major platform, with Power and the Breakfast Club, but let's call that the minor leagues for you, because it's like they have you sitting on the bench instead of contributing. Right. Oh, college. Yeah, there you go. And then now all of a sudden Now you're in the majors. Now you've already, graduated to a certain extent. Now it's like, all right, let's see where it goes from here. So now this is the genesis, this is the starting point. So I know that, I mean, listen, I expect big things from you. So like, don't let us down. I'm telling you, like,
No,
yeah,
I
like
appreciate it.
you're right over the bridge. I can find you.
Right.
Okay? So do us
But I
fucking
mean,
proud.
but what I mean is it's also up to iHeart to create more platforms for their personalities. If you're not going to do it on the terrestrial, on the actual radio side, then what else are you going to create, let's say digitally, whatever the case may be, to actually showcase their personalities, and that's what I mean. And I'm not just calling out iHeart. I just know because I work there. What I think should be happening, if we're going to be more guarded about the radio, then let's create other avenues to utilize the personality to just be a part of culture. I think that's the thing that's lacking, is not as radio. We're not being a part of culture. I mean, LP, I'm sure you remember back in the day being in the clubs every weekend associated with the radio station. Like the radio station was really a part of that local community. I mean, KTU, I remember, bro, every weekend advertising, being out in the clubs, and Soso's broadcasting live from there and this and that, bro. Like
that was the best.
Exactly. Like they were New York City because they were there. They were at everything that meant something in the dance community to New York City, and radio doesn't do that anymore.
I remember the last time there was actually like a surfer inside the club where you would do
right.
And that was the dopest part. Like, you would go to the club, the station will have like a spot where, you will come and see your favorite on-air personalities, literally do a live broadcast, live DJs playing, from 10 to whatever, you know what I'm saying?
That was the best times of my life, going and rocking parties like that. The DJ, seeing me be like this, yo, Lyric, come here, grab the mic. I'd be with a whole bunch of, a couple of famous people, maybe some, pretty girls, I mean, I don't want to call them hoes, what I'm saying, but they were some thugs, but let's call it what it is. Those were the best days ever, I mean, yeah, we can't go outside right now, but I can't wait to try to get back to, some sort of normalcy with, with how the radio used to be able to, interact, with the community.
I mean, but again, even before the pandemic hit, I mean, this is something that's been missing or has been kind of forgotten on the radio side of things. Look, I think some of, like these stations have become so corporate where like they forgot, and for me, me personally, I'm not a fan of syndication. I come from an era where I want to call my, my local jock and be like, yo, man, or like, where are they going to be at this weekend? Are they going to do a pop-up somewhere in the town? You know what I'm saying? Like, now it's like you're listening to, syndications for somebody who's in Chicago, somebody who's in LA, and like, do they come and they're like, you hear them in your town, you know what I'm saying? But do they ever come maybe here and there? It's like, like I said, I'm a fan of just, my local, DJs who I know I could go see them, or like, oh, yo, come over here at the mall. We're going to do a broadcast in front of T-Mobile store, whatever. Like, they just, like, radio has gotten so comfortable that they're losing because they're not fighting anymore like they used to. They're so comfortable, has become, like I said, so corporate. It's about, but it's like, dude, like, you lose. Do you understand that you like just you're neglecting, you're letting things go. You just, like I said, earlier, it's like you have one DJ, voicing over 20 markets. Imagine who does that.
Right.
You just literally went in and just took the fucking heart out of the fucking body. Yeah. There's no fire. You just took like the life from radio by doing that shit. But then it's about money. It's about saving money. You know what I'm saying? It's not about, it's like, what happened? And that's what I miss about radio.
No,
that was some deep shit. So I had to fucking light my light. I was like, yo, I was like, this is fucking great right now.
It's like the labels, though. The labels let themselves get too comfortable, and then now they're not needed as much. You know what I'm saying? It's just people got really comfortable being very successful and thought that they were the fucking kings and nothing was gonna come along, and they didn't feel like they had to adapt until it was too late.
Yeah, until technology, kicked them in the ass and was like,
right.
Oh shit, like technology is beating the actual labels. Don't get me wrong. The machine is still there. They still have the relationships. They still have the, the go button, when they really want to do what they're going to do. But in a matter of speaking,
what it is, my G, it's like a label is a bank. They give
Exactly.
it's a bank. They just cut you a check and, you know, go do whatever. But it's like, you know,
But,
it's not.
shit. I gotta pay that back. Oh, they gotta recoup.
Mhm.
Wait, what?
You know how it is.
Expenses? What? What?
Label is just for superstardom now, though. Because the thing is, you can be a middle-run artist independently, touring 300 cap rooms around the country, and what you make $200,000 a year, let's say, with merch and all these things. You live comfortably if you want to.
Who wants a 360 deal?
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
The error of the 360 deal literally is for the person that doesn't know any better. And I'll tell you the truth. You know who takes a 360 deal? Somebody that has faked it all the way into that label's eyes, like with the fake followers and fake views and fake comments and fake likes and fucking fake Balenciagas and fucking, and, you know, fake this and fake that, and has a decent song, but like manipulated Spotify numbers, you know, like non-paying, Spotify users. They have inflated fucking YouTube fucking hits. They got fucking, you know, they got all the glitz and glam. And that's why they're willing to take a 360 deal, because it's like, yo, let me get a little bit of money and maybe the label will do it for me. And at least I can fucking, you know, say that I'm there.
Also artists that don't know.
Yeah.
Artists that don't have the guidance and people who will teach them like not to sign that deal. They don't have management, you know, or attorneys who will say, yo, man, like they understand like you're going to lose, you know, money from
everything.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, and some artists are so thirsty that they will sign,
of course,
to the devil. They don't care. They just want to be, oh man, I'm signed to, you know, such and such label. I made it. And it's like, you know.
I had a meeting with the devil. He didn't want to sign me. He thought I was going to take over in hell. I was like, let's get the fuck out of here, bro.
I mean, but the crazy thing is, if you really think about it, when it comes to this stuff, the labels could have avoided all of this if they would have just made a deal with Napster when Napster wanted to make a deal. And they were too proud. They were too fucking big. They didn't care about these kids. These kids don't know what they're talking about. And what happens?
I'm going to
Technology always fucking wins. Bro, Spotify wouldn't have existed. The labels would have had a subscription service with Napster, whatever the case may have been that they wanted to do, and they would have never fucking been in the trouble that they're in right now. That's the funny part about this.
Napster. I miss the days of fucking my computer getting fucking herpes and fucking gonorrhea and AIDS from downloading the
fucking. And it's crazy nowadays. All these labels have become boutique style.
Right.
Yo, if you're not Ariana or like all these other big artists, they just, you know, they're not, I mean, are they really developing?
There's no artist development anymore. Basically, how it works, you know, I get, you know, the hip hop industry, and I'm not really, you know, quite removed from it because I'm still in it, you know, so to speak. Because I mean, you see the lights are on, so I'm doing something right. Right now, unless labels have like a checklist. We need to know how many streams does it have. It has to be over 1 million. The video has to be over 1 million YouTube hits. Followers, you need to have at least over 100,000 or, you know, verified. Like those were like the 3 criteria, and it already has to be getting spinned elsewhere before they can play it. So with labels, they have a checklist. They have to make sure that they can all they are is a bank, and they're looking for collateral, and they're doing their due diligence.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
they want to see what assets they have. You know, okay, what can I collateralize this motherfucker with? You know, okay, does he have a real following that, you know, will at least support it? We'll recoup whatever expenses that we're doing, because we're not taking these artists on as write-offs anymore, because they can do it themselves. They can do it themselves if they really have a following.
Let me ask you this.
Ask away.
Nah, remove all those things from the mix and do it the way it was done back in the days.
Grassroots.
You know what I'm saying? Like how people discovered like a lot of the legendary and classic artists of today who actually are still selling records, will continue to sell records for. Now they go to fucking YouTube. Oh, look at this rapper. He got 2 million views. Let's sign him. I mean, come on, man. You don't even have the decency to go look for arts for some real shit. You're going to base yourself over some views, you know, online or whatever the fuck. It's like now labels have lost that. They have lost that touch.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? They have lost that love to go out in the streets, to have these fucking A&Rs while they're sitting. I see all these A&Rs sitting at their offices and fucking, you know, in the high rises and shit. But you know, who's going? When was the last time you saw at a A&R at the club next to you asking you, "Hey, LP, yo, what is the hottest record you're playing from the streets right now?" It's making the crowd go crazy, man. It's been a long fucking time.
Technology has allowed them to be lazy. It allows them to do digital due diligence rather than that grassroots, you know, going out there and seeing, oh shit, who was that artist that just fucking rocked that stage and had fucking every single person in this no-name club going absolutely berserk? It doesn't happen anymore. Right now, it's all about digital due diligence, and it's a whole facade anyway. That's why I hate it here on Earth. Like those astronauts that fucking left a couple months ago, they fucking had it right. Like, I mean, they were like, coronavirus, we fucking out of space, you know? Because most people,
you know, and it's sad. I mean, like I said, I come from an era, old school radio, old school. You know, I've been doing this for 25 plus years. You know, 15.
God bless, man. God
It's
bless.
like, you know, man, it's like, you know, like I would go. I remember dragging 10 crates to the club back in the days. You know what I'm saying? Before Serato and all the shit popped. You know, like just breaking down in the middle of the road with fucking 20 crates and shit. Like, you know, it's just technology has been a blessing, but yet it's been the devil. But with that said, you know, it's like we, you know, like somehow, like back to the radio situation, we have to find another narrative where we have to fix it, man. Because if we don't fix it now, it's going to be too late, and it's going to be a problem, you know. So
I agree.
It's crazy.
It is kind of crazy. I mean, there's a missing puzzle piece somewhere, and I think it's more about I mean, it's all corporate, so like you're not going to change it. So it's kind of hard to sit here and argue about it to say, okay, the radio program has got to, you know, loosen up the grip a little bit and allow the fucking personality to actually be the personality, you know, allow him like some freedom. Like if there's like a local person that the streets is buzzing about, like you need to be able to allow that, you know, DJ to, yo, listen, I need to play this record. You have no idea what it did in the clubs last night. If you were there and you weren't sitting in your fucking high rise, you might have seen it, but I need to play this record right now. I don't know. I don't give a shit what you fucking
say. At the end of the day, they need to give radio back to the local people. Like let them do their thing. Dramos is in the streets. He knows what's up, man. They need to respect his opinion and his expertise. X and X, they are out here grinding. We like in the clubs. Like it makes me laugh when people are trying to tell me stuff who like don't even go out. When was the last time you went to the club? When was the last time you did that? It's like, you're trying to tell me who I'm in the clubs like 5 days a week, like, or even more? It's like, bro, like, please don't even like, just, you know, we need to go back to basics. And like I said, you know, I know it's about money because we have, you know, bills got to get paid, but don't let that drive you to a dark place because it will be the end. If you don't nurture it now, or, you know, or when it needs to be nurtured.
Okay, we're gonna start the hashtag, let them play. Let them play.
I mean, like, why not? There's actually a group that we started on Facebook, let the DJs play. And we go back, and the reason why we started this group because
I always think of $1 million ideas and someone already has it.
We're so sick and like it all started because of Facebook not letting the DJs play live streams. Like every time you get on, they shut you down. They want to do this. They want to do that. It's like, man, like these companies who need these labels who are calling DJs, who are sending DJs records, they need to be cutting deals with these situations like IG, Facebook, or whatnot.
Can I ask a dumb question? Okay, so we all know that the SRS, the sound recognition software, picks up the actual song, and that's how they know to cut it off. Okay, so here's my dumb question. So if they have the sound recognition software and they recognize the song, why can it not be counted as a stream on like it's I know it's not BDS, you know, like register, like they're not a registered BDS, you know, like radio station, but the same way that a club has to pay dues to ASCAP and BMI because songs are being played in the club, Facebook and fucking IG should pay the label, pay ASCAP.
I ask myself the same questions. These big conglomerates, like, oh, look,
I'm sorry if we just got nerdy technical over here. I'm sorry, guys, but deal with that shit. Okay, we got legends over here. Okay, so listen up. Go ahead.
No, Facebook and Instagram, they're owned by the same company. WhatsApp owns Instagram and Facebook, so they should create an avenue. Like, let's say if the DJ's playing a song, maybe like if you want to go buy this song here, go to iTunes or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They just don't. They're like, again, I feel like there's just some backwards technologies. Like, I mean, Twitch is doing his thing. They're kind of winning. You have Mixcloud doing the thing, but I have I was working on my Facebook artist page for years. I have almost 500,000 likes on my personal on my DJ artist page, Facebook. It took me years.
I've been locked out of Facebook.
Exactly. So I went to that page to do a live broadcast because I know that I have so many followers, and boom, it's like, I keep getting read, all these messages on Facebook. I'm actually, right now, I'm suspended from Facebook.
You're in Facebook jail? Oh my God.
Not even for 30 days.
Don't they know you're a prince? Don't they know you're royalty? What the fuck?
For 30 days.
That's crazy.
Let him play. Let him play.
It all started because first and foremost, Facebook has become a dictatorship. God forbid you say something about anything, and if they don't like it, like I remember it all started. I made a comment, with this whole Trump stuff going on. I was like, oh man, like Americans are kind of ignorant.
Yeah, you're just realizing this now? Jesus. Oh my God.
Oh wow, I can't even say such a statement. They banned me for like 3 days. I'd say something else about something else. 7 days. Now, 30 days. If I do it again or whatever, it's a year.
Wow. I mean, well, it's stupid. But
oh my God.
Retarded, my G.
There's two things to it.
Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah, we gotta have a talk, bro. This shit's getting out of hand. Fuck.
I think it's a twofold thing where I think, when it comes to the labels, I want to get back to the Facebook things. That is an interesting conversation. When it comes to labels, to me, even if you're not making money, if it's not counting as a stream, it is free promotion for the single. You get what I'm saying? Like, what difference is it from you doing that than sending it to me via email? Because the reality is, if I play a record and a kid on Facebook likes it, he's not going to replay that video 100,000 times to get that 3-minute thing. He's going to go stream it now. Now he wants to go find out about the record. Or I'm also not playing the same song 50 times to scratch somebody's itch, that they're going to get to keep hearing the same song over and over. When I play it, if they discover it new, they're going to go and want to listen to it on Spotify or go listen to it, whatever the case may be.
And a stream is worth 1/100 of a cent. So you're shutting down the people playing the music to save 1/100 of a cent. You
free promotion. I agree.
Suckers.
But the second thing to this whole thing as well is Ryan Leslie's big on this. That's why he developed the superphone thing where it was like, you have everybody's numbers. The reality of it all is, and we hate to admit it, we don't own shit when it comes to these platforms. They are privatized platforms, and we are just borrowing real estate on there. So 100%. we all have to be very cognizant of that and don't allow ourselves to allow too much of our worth and our value, and as well as our brand, to just rely on one thing, because the second they don't like something we did, we are gone, and there's nothing we can do about it. We just lost all the years of work that we put into it. So
the money you spend on promoting your thing,
absolutely, sponsoring ads, anything.
People come in like my page or whatever, like come see my face. Gone. They don't give no flying fucks whatsoever.
And so it comes down to, we also now have to expand our brand so much that just in case you lose Instagram, you lose Facebook, it doesn't matter because you're retaining it in other places. That's a whole other conversation, but it is something we all have to be cognizant of, because at any point's notice, these platforms can take us away, and that's that for us,
Right. If your page gets snatched or hacked or or deleted or something, it's like, boom, you need to start over. all right, so that's why when people ask me to like this, like, oh, how'd you get verified? I'm like, first off, it's like, why are you even asking me? It's like, you haven't done your due diligence to see I've already should be verified. But it's like, I was always like weary of the like, oh, let me buy 100,000 followers, because we all know that those fucking things exist. It's like, I never wanted to have my page deleted because I worked so fucking hard after rebranding myself from Lyric Enforcer from fucking 96 to fucking to 2010. It's like I started from scratch. It's like, God forbid I did any of that shit and my page got snatched away. I'd be like, it's literally like me being single, someone just cutting off my dick and just being like, all right, have a nice life. It's like, I can't do nothing with this. It's like, all right, I'm jumping off one of the 4 bridges in Staten Island. Like, triple Indy.
It's so true, though. It's so true. And
Yeah,
it's
it's
like,
smart, man.
It's like what he said. We don't own any of this. We're just visiting.
Yeah.
Your Facebook page, and to say hi to your friends, or your colleagues, or your friends who are DJs.
I blame Tom. It's all Tom's fault. Like Tom from MySpace, it was all his fault. He started a fucking monster, and now it's literally revolutionized the world. It's changed the world that we know it. It no longer standing on the corner, hustling your CDs, in Times Square, because people don't even have the medium to play CDs anymore. It's like,
Dramos, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a lot of old motherfuckers working at these labels that don't. They've been at the label until who knows, they're gonna die, and that's when they're gonna be removed from power positions at these labels. They haven't come down from whatever fucking building they're in or planet.
Yeah.
And they haven't done the research down here where the rest of the fucking people are. This is the reason why we're fucked, because they just cannot relate.
Well, it's not. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but those jobs, are they performance based? It's like, how do you merit performance?
Listen, it's like when I worked for Universal.
Isn't it all about selling ads and like airtime?
Let me tell you something. When I worked for Universal, it's the Good Boys Network. You're my boy. I'm going to hire you, and you're this job until you don't want it anymore. You could do whatever. I mean, this is your job. You're going to have this job forever. And that's how they take care. And these guys, like I said, they're just these, big wigs. They're just like I said, they're making so much money. They're up here. They don't want to come down with what the reality of shit is. You know what I'm saying? Just from an example of what's going on in the business. I was talking about Sony earlier. And, where now they want the pools to pay millions. So if you want their music on your record pool, they're not budging. They want millions. They want to get paid.
So is that legalized payola?
No,
well, they're desperate. They're desperate.
They want so if you notice, so our company, we decided to say, you know what, like this is the way of the future. Streaming is the way of the future. We created a company called B Source. All right, B Source is going to be it's on your Serato, so and all these other avenues. So now I go there, I log in, and I'm able to stream all the songs. 6 million songs from our catalog. We have licensed this music. So it's about licensing, and this is the reason why they're asking for money. So because the record pool business has been around for so long. Like back in the days, they'll service this pool's free vinyl. They'll charge $100 a DJ, and they making money. The label's shipping you free records all the time.
Promo only days.
For promo, and for you to send them, okay, you know what? Here's the feedback from all this music that you're sending us. With that said,
did you guys actually send the feedbacks to them?
Basically the pools are going to disappear very soon because because it doesn't make them any money. So they're trying. So now they're leaning to like that's the reason why our company is one of the very first companies that is for the DJ community that streams music. And now, so back to to my point, and back to the mentality. So now on our system, we have everything except for intro versions that you need as a DJ. And now we have to go convince the higher ups why the label should let us do this intro versions of the music. Imagine that we have to go tell them because they don't know the culture of DJing. So they don't know what the DJ needs. You know what I'm saying? It's for them, it's all about, yo, give us the money.
Right.
But you know, they need to understand that the DJ is so influential on radio, in the clubs, on podcasts, on fucking, you know, on these, you know, Spotify's as they create, they have mixes or whatever on all levels. Like no matter what, like DJs are always influentially pushing people to go buy music. Yo, I heard this song on your mix. What is that shit? Oh, it's the new da. Yo, I heard that fucking hot record. Yo, the Dramos was playing on his mix. Yo, what is that shit? Yo, by the way, guys, that's a brand new Doja Cat record that we just, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand. Or I don't understand where they lost, where they got lost in the matrix. How important is to have the DJ as your ally? Because tomorrow we could be like, yo, you know what? Fuck it. Let's blackball Sony Records and not play none of their fucking artists. Yeah. We'll just blacklist everybody. Period.
But they're scraping for pennies is what they're doing. And they're trying to continue to use the same old avenues to make money in a world that doesn't exist anymore. So instead of being innovative and trying to develop the next thing and to work with the technology, they're just trying to fight against it just so they can continue having their job as long as they possibly can. Exactly. You know, and that's what it comes down to, because it has to be that. The decision makers who have been there forever, the guys who have been there forever, making a ton of money, they're done in a few years, probably what they're probably getting to the retirement age, right? So
the time with a fat pocket.
Exactly. Let's just keep the money flowing for as long as I possibly can until the whole thing just blows up. That's what it comes down to.
And the saddest thing is that they're punishing the DJ for doing a job, for helping them sell records, for us to promote their artists. So we're being punished by, like now, you know, if you stream on Facebook as of October 1st, you know, they're gonna literally terminate your account.
Thank God I'm locked out of Facebook. Yo, listen, I've been boycotting Facebook because I had this really like powerful record that I did called Paradise, and I'll send you the video. I think you'll like it. And it's about Staten Island was like it was like the heroin epicenter for a little while, and my first producer, you know, died, you know, from an overdose of heroin, and like there's literally within 2 degrees of everybody on the island, somebody knows somebody that fucking OD'd on heroin. So I did a video about, you know, heroin addiction and, you know, and overdosing, and, you know, and they literally flagged it, and the reason was they said that I was promoting drug usage. So I was like, from that point on, I was like, fuck you, Mark. I was like, I don't need you, Zuckerberg is. I was like, you know, I got Instagram, you know, and I got my personality, and, you know, and I got my longevity. So it's like, well, whatever. So I literally, I've been able to maintain without Facebook.
Like, how crazy that when I go to Twitch, I'm not sorry, to Twitter, and I'm like seeing all this porn.
Right.
Yo, it's like no issues whatsoever. I don't understand.
It is a fucked up world. That is a whole different podcast that we should.
Right.
You know what I think? You know, because I think it's gonna cut me off, because I know that like I have certain restrictions. I got, you know, I'm Jewish. I did not fucking pay for like the extra usage on my fucking Zoom account, which I guess I need to do now. You know, and that's no disrespect to any Jewish people. I'm just good with my money, so it's like, and I just didn't think I was gonna need to use it. I didn't think we were gonna do like a Vlad TV fucking, you know, like hour and a half. But I think us three should definitely get back on at another time and definitely do one of these. I don't mean to, you know, cut us off the conversation. We're going to continue a little bit, but I think we should all jump back on, because I think there's valuable things that all of us have to contribute. And, you know, and I mean, I don't have the most like exclusive podcast. You know, my views are getting there. They're not like, you know, they're not Joe Budden.
Baby steps, you know what I mean?
You know, I'm thinking it into existence. View.
And this is exactly what we were talking about earlier. You go out of your way to create an avenue to be able to share with your fans and whatnot. Then you have a company like fucking Facebook gets mad at you and fucking, you know, for whatever the fucking reason. It's like me. Why couldn't I have the opportunity to defend myself and say, yo, you know what? Let me remove. Okay, so it was a video that I posted 2 years ago, and I just got flagged for it. And that's where the reason why I got the 30-day suspension. Dude, can you at least tell me, hey, you know what? Let's remove the video, or let you remove the video, and we'll let you know that this kind of whatever, it is what it is. But
Yeah,
now,
but the president can tweet the fucking shit that he tweets. Like that's some shit. So you get flagged in Facebook for a video, but this motherfucker can repost fucking, you know. Let me not even start, because I feel like fucking Secret Service gonna fucking like jump in here and be like, listen, we've been watching you, motherfuckers.
That's what I'm saying. And to be able to get in touch with somebody at Facebook, it's like
impossible.
It's impossible. It's like I have never been around a situation where like you know, if you want to, you know, customer service is key, but it's like, you know what, since they're not selling anything and you're not paying them, they're not gonna like, if something happened, like I remember somebody hacked my DJ Latin Prince page. Like, yo, that fight was to the death. Like, it was crazy for me to be able to get it back after working so much and spending so many years building my fan base and through that. And I was like, nah, I'm not gonna let it go. I'm just gonna, if I had literally fly to fucking the Bay Area and go to fucking Facebook and have a conversation with somebody, I will do that shit, because I have spent hundreds of hours working on my shit, and I'm not gonna just let somebody fucking just take it from me. And then on top of that, you can even like, it's so hard to, you know, get help. But anyways, back to
just don't say anything bad, because they're listening. Trust me.
But it's like what Drama said, you know, we don't own this shit, so we're at their mercy.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
It's a fucking crazy world that we live in, you know. And you know, and speaking about crazy world, let me just you know, take the opportunity to ask you, how you maintaining during this whole pandemic, you know, crazy fucking political division.
I personally, I mean, I left New York. I'm in Texas now. I mean, I'm in the center of the state. So if I need to go and do business in New York, I just fly. 3-hour flight. I could spend 2 weeks or whatever. I have a place to stay in New York. I don't literally have to physically. I'm just not going to sit home. I mean, I'm not going to sit in New York paying thousands of dollars of rent and there's nothing going down. It's sad. I mean, for me, that's just, I moved the way I move away. I'm here in Dallas, and, you know, fuck, I'm gigging 3 or 4 days, you know, times a week now. So it's like, I'm doing a lot of work out here, which is a blessing with all this going on. I mean, I just had to reevaluate, you know, just my life in general. Like, you know, everybody's been impacted, you know, family members have lost their gigs. It's crazy. It's real.
I mean, literally, I mean, I don't think people understand. Like, now I know that, you know, like ASCAP and, you know, BMI gave like, you know, they allowed you to like submit forms of like, you know, different gigs that you were, you know, going to get paid for, and they didn't give you like a percentage, you know, of it to keep you afloat. But there's one thing that they don't understand, that there's artists like me that like, I used to go out like 5 days a week, and I was cool with making like $150 for a quick walkthrough, you know, or $200 to sit down and, you know, and drink something and just, you know, Instagram it, you know, and I would, you know, make a couple $1,000s a month just from doing that shit, because I was going out and partying anyway. So it's like, but I can't like, you know, submit that to, you know, to ASCAP or BMI. Yeah, you know, I was going to go see Ray, and he was going to hit me up with 100 spot. I was going to sit down, I was going to take a picture, and we were going to be chilling, and that's it. So all of our revenue streams have been cut by, I mean, I'd have to take a guesstimate and say at least like 30%, you know what I'm saying? So while you're talking, you know, you're gigging 3 times a week, are there people wearing masks there? Like, I mean, is it enforced? Like,
I mean, I'm wearing a mask. I mean, everybody's like, I mean, it's weird. Like, you know, you go to a restaurant, you go in with a mask, and then you sit down and you take the mask off to eat. So that's a lot of bar restaurants, they're playing music.
It's nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy. And Dramos, you know, a lot of people on terrestrial radio have been laid off. A lot of DJs, a lot of talents. I mean, it's just it's crazy out there, man. So from the beginning to the end of summer, I lost over $40,000 in revenue in just gigs alone from my tours this summer. You know, doing, you know, my summer. I mean, I'm doing the summer. It's like, it's the heavy season for me when I'm out of the country doing these festivals and whatnot. And it's like, yeah, it's just like, it's heartbreaking, but you know, what can we do is, you know, I mean, I didn't apply for unemployment. I didn't, you know, I applied for a small business loan, but, you know, nothing crazy that they could give me anyway. So
no, it's all about sustainment now. I mean, I've had to dip into my savings. I've had to get innovative with, you know, how I can earn revenue. You know, I never been a real big like pushing merch on my fans, because I always wanted, you know, to just be, you know, provide entertainment for them. And, you know, if they want to buy my music, you know, awesome, you know, but, you know, thank you for just being here. But it's like, you know, in a time like this, it's like, it's like, you start fucking, you know, calling up people, but this, yo, like, what's crack going for on the street nowadays? Like, I mean, is that a viable business? It's like, you got to start fucking thinking about shit. You know what I'm saying? Times is hard right now.
You know, I got, you know, you got to get the hustles on. Like, I mean, I'm here getting ready to open up a cannabis situation in Oklahoma myself. So, you know, like that's really something that is really
send me some samples. I will gladly.
I got you. I'm gonna get some strains sent to you that I'm gonna create. But that's something that I'm gonna work. That I've been working on for a while. But
joke, if the FBI is listening, he's not sending it to me. It's not legal in New York yet. We know better.
Well, you know, we're talking about Oklahoma. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah. So right now,
wind comes sweeping down the plains. I know exactly.
This, you know, right now, and it's gonna go wreck, you know, in about a year or two. So we're getting ready. We're about to invest about $750 in the out there, building a indoor facility. So it's gonna 20,000 square feet. So it's like, shit is about, you know, how to go out there.
Yeah, so not a little operation. Okay.
Not a little operation. No, I'm going full-fledged marijuana style.
Dramos, we're gonna have to take a trip out there and if you see me, I know when this all is over, we're gonna need that. I mean, I know you just got, you know, the new job, but we're gonna need to take a vacation. Yeah, and we just need to just go there and fucking get lit. Like, I'm talking like capital LIT. Like, lit like a motherfucker.
If you see me MIA from socials, you already know what's up.
There you go. But listen, I mean, as much as I'd love to like sit here and like chat like all night, like, I mean, I drank this whole fucking bottle of Jack Daniels, so I don't know how much longer I got. But go ahead.
Dramos, how you hanging, you know, during the pandemic, my boy?
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say next. I wasn't leaving just yet.
I mean, listen, man, I probably lost. I'm probably, my revenue's cut about 40% right now. I'd say that, but at the same time, I think for me, I never look at one thing as my only thing. I don't have much attachment to the things that I'm doing. I love what I do, but at the same time, I know these things can be taken away at any time, you know, given unfortunate circumstances. I mean, I learned that, you know, when you lose your first DJ residency, or when the account goes to a cheaper DJ or something like that, you start learning like, yo, that money I was counting on, it can be taken away from me very quickly. And I learned that early on in the game, you know? So for me, I never looked at radio as my prime, you know, source of income. I never looked at DJing as my prime source of income. To me, it was how can I have my hands in multiple things in case one thing lacks, I can be, you know, picked up by another thing, you know? So thankfully for me, you know, that and the combination of, I always kept my bills low. I live below my means. You know, I'm not out here trying to stunt on anybody with a fancy car. I'm not trying to have this high-rise apartment and a doorman, all that kind of shit for no reason. Like, I always kept my funds, you know, below what I actually need to do. So even when the DJing disappeared, my radio gigs were covering all my actual essentials. And I was able to then just utilize that time. Okay, how can I invest in my craft? How can I create now a new opportunity that is eventually going to lead me to more money? And that's what I did. I used that, you know, these last 6 months or whatever the case may be, to develop myself more as a personality, and develop shows. And that's what happened with the Z100 stuff. And then even now working with LATV, basically doing exactly what I was doing for free on IG Live. I'm now getting paid to do it for their TV station. That's because, you know, I took the time to invest in that craft, and now I'm continuing to expand beyond that. You know, I'm never going to rely on that again. Whatever the next opportunity is, it's always just looking for the next thing and the next hustle, you know. I mean,
you're right. I have the same frame of mind. I have never put all my eggs in one basket. Never.
Exactly.
Never, ever. DJing for me has become like, you know, like I have my gig with DJ City, Beat Source, and I also work for Sirius XM. But then the DJ part was like, you know, like that was a side show. Like not a side show, but you know, it's like my you know, like extra income for myself.
Yeah,
you know?
play money.
And I was taking that money to invest in other things. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Taking that money and putting it in other ventures. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
Smart,
Yeah.
you know, and that's why, you know, you were able to sustain yourself, you know, for all of these years, you know, in this game, you know. And I mean, let me be the first to say that, you know, I appreciate your, you know, your every contribution to it, and I'd love to have you back on the show so I can, you know, really highlight, you know, a bunch of other shit. We went off on a fucking tangent, but it was an essential tangent. Like, this was a conversation that needed to be had, and I could only hope that, you know, the powers that be actually, you know, listen to it. So, you know, so I just appreciate you guys, and, you know, Dramos,
like I said,
congratulations, you know.
whenever you need me, brother, just let's get, you know, we here.
No doubt.
Yeah, thanks, man.
And I'm pissed he did not use his fucking famous quote. He should have just started, like, I mean, because it was epic what he just said. He should have started out with saying, you know, I just stopped waiting and started creating. Because
Yeah.
that's a quote I took to heart, and I never got a chance, because we were on a Zoom, you know, just chatting it up, but I never got a chance to tell you this. That's like literally was raining through my head when I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I can't wait for, you know, things to open up. Like, I had like Quad Studios all set up for, you know, for my podcast in early March, and that's when all of this shit happened. But that's when I went into quarantine, so I stopped it. So I was like, how am I going to do this? I was like, okay, I can, you know, use the appeal of Quad Studios, you know, Tupac got shot there, you know, legendary place, you know, the podcast, verified, you know, and all the glitz and glamour. But at the end of the day, it was like, I just needed to stop waiting and started creating. And I was like, it's all about me, you know, developing myself as the personality that people already hear on records and people have known for years. That's why, like, you'll never really hear any bad things about me. You know, I always say, if you hear something bad about me, it's because I fucked your wife, your sister, or your mother, or all three. And you deserve it. You know, but that stop waiting, start creating, literally was like a fucking foot in my ass that was like, yo, get your ass on Zoom. You got relationships with everyone. It's all about you. It's really not about the fucking glitz and glamour of that. Let's just bring them the raw, you know, and if it works, it works. And so far, it's fucking working. So
that's what you gotta do, man.
Yeah, so
you gotta just create. I appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, listen, man. Anybody listening, watching that, at the end of the day, bro, that's what you got to do. And I feel for my DJ, you know, family who are hurting in this time period. But at the same time, let it be an eye-opening experience for you that you cannot just allow yourself to base everything you do on one thing, because that can be stripped away from you. You know what I mean? We have no guarantees that a club is going to stay open. We have no guarantee that a promoter is going to stay in that building, or that they're not going to want to go with somebody else for whatever stupid reason it might be, you know? And you got to be careful. And this whole idea of like flexing and spending more money than we need to, and this idea of like putting on this fake persona of being a successful DJ, musician, artist, that shit is for the birds, man. It's dumb.
Stop pretending you're rich.
Right, exactly.
Stop starting on the whole. Okay?
Listen,
you know,
I
you're
wanted
still
to buy
selling
a laptop.
up the way.
I wanted to upgrade my laptop, but, you know, so let me pause for a second. And you know what? I can still rock mine until the wheels fall off. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know when you might need that money, you know, in other situations.
So. Hey, listen. I protect every single penny that I get, because, like, I mean, I knew I went through
you're Jewish. I already know you.
Exactly. Well, you know this. It's like So I was working at a very, very early age, so I was always around money, and I was me and my brother were twins, so it's like my parents didn't have the money to buy two of everything, so it's like we had to share shit. But me and my brother realized in an early age we need to get some money. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so I know how it's like to, you know, have money and then fucking lose it, and have credit, use your credit and fucking blow it through the fucking roof, and now you're fucked, and then you build yourself up. So I know, basically when I said that I protect my pennies, it's like now I do, because I've been living like a fucking baller for fucking years, and I had no business doing so. So now I'm just fucking smarter with it. I got my fucking, my credit is fucking, you know, through the roof. I got fucking no debt. I got like literally like those worries are not there. So that's why, I mean, you know, I protect my pennies. So it's especially now, thank God, because of fucking Corona and this motherfucker. You heard what he tweeted today? He's like, don't be scared of Corona. Don't let it control your life. Motherfucker, like the past 4 days, your life has been
He's a
controlled.
scam artist, my G. He's a scam artist. You know what? This whole Corona thing that he's doing right now, I think it's a scam. I think it's a publicity stunt for him to get people to feel sorry for him so they could vote for him. Why is he pulling this scam, like a month and some change away from voting? The guy.
Well, I listen, I think it gets even deeper than that. Ready? It literally, and I'm sorry for like any of my fans that are Republicans. Like, I mean, you already know what I feel about you. So like, there's no beating around the bush. So, and I'm not getting political, but in terms of like my own little conspiracy theory, I think you'll like this. Mm-hmm. I really thought that he was like, let me fake this coronavirus so that I can deflect away from me, not denouncing white supremacy. Let me let me gain sympathy amongst my base because they know that I kind of blew it in the debate and I fucking went hot and heavy and went off the fucking rails. So let me strengthen my base because I'll gain sympathy from the people that might have thought that, they need to go to Biden. And also I really thought, thank God they said at the press conference, but you can't even believe the doctors nowadays. They asked him, I thought he was going to pop out in 3 days and say, hydroxychloroquine saved my life.
The guy is back to normal. Like it was an alarming situation for like 48 hours, and now he's back to the horse. Yeah, come on, man. Well, people over here. It's like, anyways. I feel
like every time he says something like that, and for people in the hip hop community to allow it to stand, it's almost like every single time that he makes a statement like that. And I'm not trying to get political over here at all. Okay, I'm not. But hashtag I'm the vote. Make sure you register to vote. Make sure you get your absentee ballot. Make sure you fucking do your shit. You know what I'm saying? There you go. Vote. Vote. But, and I don't want to get off topic. Every time he says something, I feel like it disrespects Fred the Godson and everybody that fucking supported his legacy because he died of coronavirus. Mm-hmm. And to fucking not acknowledge that this guy is downplaying it is to kind of disrespect the fact that we lost one of our fucking greats before anyone knew that he was a fucking great. Or at least, the world didn't get a chance to really know like they should have. So, I know that's a separate topic. I'm might be getting a little deep right now. I'm a little drunk.
I don't want to, because I have like a lot to say about that stuff, but, we could do that in the next call.
Yes, let's do that in the next call because I'm in a great mood. So let's leave it at that. Latin Prince, like, thank you so much for taking your time out, and Dramos, thank you too. I know that fucking you work like fucking hellish hours and you got, literally more hats than you wear than anyone.
Right now at the crib, you know what I'm saying? He's like,
the second that he gets off, he's definitely running to the station. He's definitely gonna get his workout in, and then he's gonna have to get his bike riding. I already know it. So,
all good, man. All good.
Latin Prince, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you? What's your latest project that you want them to know about? Because I know I'm getting cut off in literally 2 minutes. So, spit it out as quick as you can.
Shout out the socials, IG at Latin Prince, on the Facebook at DJ Latin Prince, and of course I'm verified in all Twitch.
Verified.
Twitter, Facebook, IG. What is it? TikTok. It's like, I need that shirt, man.
This motherfucker, I got you. This motherfucker's internationally verified. Everyone knows.
Why are you verified? Who are you? Don't worry about it, punk.
Shit, couldn't have said it better myself. I
got some stuff coming soon, so I it's not ready yet, but there's two things: music, and I'm also actually coming out with a book. So that's
Oh shit! Yeah. Listen, make sure you listen. This conversation's epic. I think it belongs in the book. What do you think?
Music is my weapon. What do you think? Music is my weapon is the name of the book.
Okay. Yeah. Listen, I fuck with it.
It's just a story about me as a young kid coming from a third world country and being able to make my dreams come true, be able to work in the music, be able to meet some of the greatest artists in the world, from Pac to Biggie to Aaliyah, etc. I have photos in the book. Like, who the hell would have thought a kid from Nicaragua was going to be like doing these things? So it's like the journey. I didn't think it was going to be something that really was going to carry. But I sat down with a ghostwriter. They have ghostwriters for books. You sit down, they record your story, and they transcribe it all, and it becomes a book. So the lady's like, this story is kind of interesting. We could go there. And so we dug in and did a bunch of stuff. And now, it's in the process of finding to get a book deal and then take it from there.
Look at this, man of fucking many talents. And there was one thing before I end the call. One thing that really struck me, I was listening to one of your like old interviews, and you said that being a DJ is the closest thing to playing God because you get to play with people's emotions. And I felt that, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm so passionate about music. So when you said that, like I literally, like if I had a microphone, I would have been like, boom, mic drop.
It's so true though, like when you are able to capture that person's heart and emotions, that is is a very powerful thing. It's hard to explain, but it's like, that's the closest thing that like being God,
it's a weapon, and and it can be used, if it gets in dangerous hands, it could be used in terrible ways.
So like one day you could listen to oh man, I remember my first girlfriend. Oh man, that's taking me back. Emotions, feelings.
I hate that shit. When I get fucking wrecked and I listen to fucking old songs, I can become a sappy mess. Thank God I live alone.
I can just see you fucking, bitch.
Listen, real men cry. Okay? Like,
Dramos, give it to me.
What you talking about? Listen, I'm sensitive. I'm sensitive. I'm passionate. That's what it is. And Dramos, congratulations on all your recent success. And I do appreciate you taking your time. I do know how busy you are. Why don't you shout out, what you're doing and where they can find you at? Because everyone should be following both of these motherfuckers.
It's just at DJ Dramos on everything, man, and I have my weekly show on LATV now, Z100, all that stuff, music stuff. Just at DJ Dramos. I post pretty regularly, so you'll be able to see what I'm doing.
Dope. So, my guy, listen, I appreciate both of you, and the fact that it's October and it's Hispanic Heritage Month. I appreciate both of you for your contribution to, what you guys have done to the game. I know that you guys have really, you haven't even peaked yet. So, it's a great thing. So let's jump back on at a later time, and let's do this again, because I think there's valuable shit that we need to talk about. And like, I was trying to get to all the hoes that you fucking smashed throughout the years. You know what I'm saying? Did you get to fucking play with J-Lo's fucking tushy hole? Like, this is fucked up. Like, I mean, but we're gonna do this at a later time.
I have a J-Lo story, but I have to tell it to you in the next one.
Listen, so stay tuned. So basically, I'm JopauL. This is the Verified Podcast brought to you by Radio Push and Results of No Hype, as well as Major Papers. That was the papers that I was smoking throughout the whole thing, and I'm fucking lit right now. And I'd like to leave you guys with a little quote on how I live my life. We are all here for a small cup of coffee. I'm just trying to drink it while it's still hot. I'm your boy JopauL. This is the Verified Podcast. One love.
Hasta luego, mi gente. Peace.
Peace, brother.
Guys.